I got my wish. A new master.
Like a dog.
And that was the happiest day of my life.
My apartment. Hey, I like dogs.
We have your dog.
It's Monday, September 9, 2024. This is CVM News at noon. I'm Ramon Gordon. The Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, TODSS, is urging the government to prioritize the establishment of medical facilities at Jamaica's major international airports. The call comes after the tragic death of a passenger at Sangster International Airport at the weekend. TODSS President Egerton Newman highlighted that the presence of a medical officer or a dedicated medical center could have made the crucial difference in this situation. With over 3 million visitors arriving in Jamaica each year, TODSS is pressing Transport Minister Darrell Vaz to address this urgent need. Meanwhile, the opposition People's National Party, PNP, is extending heartfelt condolences to the family of Leroy Smith, who tragically passed at Sangster International. The PNP is urging the government to address what it perceives as critical gaps in the healthcare system that contributed to the tragedy. The opposition has criticized the government for its handling of the crisis.
It is unfortunate that during this time of mourning that the family has to be subjected to a public discourse surrounding the death of their loved one at the Sangster International Airport. It is even more unfortunate that the official response has been one of blame shifting away from the Ministry of Health and emergency medical services that ought to be available at the fire brigade. Less than 5 minutes away, the Flanker Fire Brigade should have had an ambulance stationed with an emergency technical team available for deployment. That service is no longer functional.
The PNP is also questioning the absence of an emergency medical team that was once stationed just minutes from the airport, demanding clarity on why they were unavailable during the incident. We'll have more on that story in News at 7. 9 years after Jamaica decriminalized the use of marijuana in 2015, opposition leader Mark Golding says that the Holness administration's stewardship of the industry has been a failure. He is calling out the government for what he thinks is very poor oversight of the Cannabis Licensing Authority.
What part of that reform was to create a new industry in Jamaica in medicinal and therapeutic ganja, which is in demand around the world. But the man then inherited the thing in 2016. We just get going. We just started, and we never get to set it right. The truth, Tony. And the man then inherited the thing and mash up the thing. And now the regulatory body, the Cannabis Licensing Authority, things now run right in there. The staff and the management in affliction. And the people who have invested in the industry are very disappointed because the way that the thing has rolled out, it makes it almost impossible for them to survive in a business. That was never the intention. The intention was that industry should be fully accessible to the small farmer, whether you be in Orange Hill or whether you be in St. Elizabeth or St. Anna, right as up in South St. Andrew. You could have made a good money by growing some good quality ganja for medicinal and therapeutic purposes. That was where we were going.
Golding, speaking at his St. Andrew constituency conference, reminded the crowd that it was under his leadership that the establishment of the ganja decriminalization framework commenced.
I feel passionate about the ganja industry. Why? Because I was the one who really pushed through the reforms that we passed in 2015, so nobody can go to jail for a sniff or a chalice or a draw weed. Yeah, man. And if you have a criminal record for some past offense or personal use, you have the right to have that automatically removed from your record. And we do that. A People's National Party do that.
Following the retirement of Deputy Superintendent of Police DSP Fitz Bailey, Commissioner of Police Dr. Kevin Blake has appointed Richard Stewart as the new head of the crime portfolio. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang supports the move.
The assignment of Deputy Commissioner Stewart to the portfolio of crime and security is the decision of our Commissioner of Police. The Commissioner, Kevin Blake, has made some major changes in the leadership of the police force since the appointment at the beginning of April. All the changes have shown positive results. In fact, the morale of the force for this one is the highest it has been for many years. And as Minister, I have complete confidence in Kevin Blake. Indeed, I have confidence in appointing, in recommending us and supporting his appointment as Commissioner. But his work in the last few months has demonstrated a level of professional acumen that reinforces that confidence. We have had, except for the transition month of May, 3 continuous months of less than 100 homicides across the country and engagement and prosecution of many of our major shooters and criminal gang leaders. I therefore find it almost obligatory to support any deployment activity of the Commissioner. But I can add that Mr. Stewart has been an outstanding senior officer. He is appointed Deputy Commissioner at a pretty young age, same time as current Commissioner Kevin Blake. He has demonstrated competence and, most importantly, effective leadership skills across all the formation which he have operated.
Following the death of multiple individuals at the weekend, the National Road Safety Council, NRSC, is calling on the government to enforce stricter road safety policies in a bid to lessen the number of deaths on the nation's roads. NRSC Vice Chairman Dr. Lucian Jones says it's time for the government to do whatever it takes.
To date, 255 persons have died on our roads. And already for the month of September, 8 people have died. This kind of madness on our roads, where people are dying regularly, does not have to happen. One of the things that we need to come to terms with is a matter of safe speeds. We are just traveling too fast on our roads, and it is causing mayhem and death and injury. Whatever it takes, whether it be police out there monitoring the speeding with the radars, whether it be an enhanced measure in respect of the use of cameras or measuring speed over distance.
Stay with us. More CVM News at noon after this.
Get tiles and get creative with your floors, walls, and all the spaces in between. Our knowledgeable sales consultants are happy to help create your beautiful finish with the latest designs in first quality porcelain, wood look, vinyl, mosaics, natural stones, and countertops. At Creative, you will get every tile you need for your residential or commercial projects. Creative Building Finishes, your one-stop shop for everything tiles. Visit our showroom at 5 Red Hills Road or call 876-929-5553. Get tiles, get creative.
Later, Daddy. Take care of Grandpa.
Saka, need to walk.
Welcome back. It's now time for our discussion segment. Now, a family is mourning the loss of their loved one after their relative fell and hit his head on Wednesday at the Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay, St. James. The man is 71-year-old Leroy Smith. He was returning from the United States after visiting his family when he collapsed at the baggage counter and later died. The Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services TODSS has called for the Transport Minister to establish medical facilities at the nation's airport. Here with me in studio to discuss further that matter is President of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services TODSS. The man is Edgerton Newman. Sir Newman, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thanks to your viewers.
Sure thing. Before we dive into our substantive conversation, schools reopened last week.
Yeah.
What is the state of the sector following that?
One word: awesome.
Awesome.
An awesome restart of school. We have one challenge, one casualty in my parish, Manchester. Unfortunate, the death of a youngster, 10 years old. And that was sad. But apart from that, things has been going very well. But over the weekend, we have some challenges in terms of fatal crashes, especially in St. Catherine. But, you know, we have to expect things like these. When we have persons who are driving with psychological suicide note in their pockets. And I said to them today, and I will continue to say it, when you have that mindset, when you have that psychological note in your pocket, please, for heaven's sake, drive alone.
Mr. Newman, we've heard some reports of disquiet in some sectors. There were some protests in Manchester, I think it was, road conditions. Some students had to walk to schools. Were your members a part of that protest as well, and have you gotten similar reports in other parts of the island?
My response will not go down well with some people. But of course, there have been a number of protests in past weeks, and you're going to see a number of protests coming up. We want to endorse most of those protests with regards to the road conditions.
Oh.
On another network I was on a few minutes ago, I speak to the challenge that we are facing. My director was taking me on the road this morning, and we have been navigating potholes, I call them sinkholes, in the corporate area. And that is one of the major problems, apart from speeding, poor road condition that give rise to fatalities.
So you're saying, Mr. Newman, the motoring public should be looking out for some protests going forward. That's what you're saying now?
The TODSS organization will not be organizing a protest, but will support your protest in your neck of the woods if it's regards to bad road conditions. The government must see this as a priority and address the problems on the road. Because when a young child died, we have some knee-jerk reaction. And worse, if it happened, engage a public transport operator, then I have to start to hide, go underneath the bed. So we are saying that if you are saying to us, and I've since the 14th of July, non-stop every day I've been having seminars, workshops, meeting about safety among our members. If we are doing all this without any support from government, we are saying to the powers that be, do your part, and let us do our part. And when all the parts come together and are doing well, then we have a reduce in fatalities, and there will be no need for demonstrations.
Nice.
I will support any demonstration in any community across Jamaica for bad roads, because my taxi men is everywhere.
We're going to have more conversation about that, I'm pretty sure. But moving on to the substantive conversation, the incident at Sangster International Airport, right? You're president of one of the largest taxi associations nationally. Why did you think it's so important to come out and speak so pointedly about it? One
correction. TODSS is not just a taxi association.
All right.
It's a transport association. Air, sea, and land. And when my advisors yesterday, the day before, advised me that there's no medical facilities at the airport, I was surprised. Because at the transport center, there's a medical facility. You know, you can go to if you get a cut in the transport center, you can rush into it. So why a place where it's bringing in 3 million people, and it could be 6 million to and from, each year, why don't we have a medical desk? Is it surprising to me?
We'll go for a very quick break, but we're going to come back with more conversation here on CVM News at Noon.